Today we're going to create a pivot table in Microsoft Excel. As you know, the pivot table is one of Microsoft Excel's most powerful and intimidating functions. So let's get right into it. What is a pivot table? Well, a pivot table is a summary of your data packaged in a chart that lets you report on and explore trends based on the information that you provide. In other words, a pivot table extracts meaning from all this endless data of information that you have here. So let's get familiar with our spreadsheet. So we have a spreadsheet which I already prepared, which is listed out by manager, region, state, and the sales by the first, second, third, and fourth quarters, any discounts that we received, and any year-to-date and the total year-to-date sales for each region and each manager in that region. So that's the data that we have and we're going to analyze. So how do we go about creating a pivot table in Excel? Let's do it. Boom. So the first thing you do is you go to the toolbar, you hit insert, you go down to the ribbon, and here you have options, okay? You can create the pivot table yourself, or Excel gives you the ability to use recommended pivot tables. So we click on that. As we can see, Excel intuitively grabs the information that it thinks that you want for your pivot table. And here it gives you options on the side, or recommendations. So as you can see, it gives you the sum of sales first quarter by region, third quarter by region, and if you scroll down, it gives you a little bit more options. So let's just click on this. Boom, there it is. Excel creates everything for you. Let's get rid of the blanks. And as you can see, Excel provides the information for you. It gives you the manager and the state, just like I told you. But we're not going to do that right now. We're going to create it from scratch. So we're going to delete this. And we're going to go back to insert, and we're going to go to pivot table. We're going to choose from table range. Again, Microsoft Excel grabs the information that it thinks that you want in your pivot table, that you want to summarize and analyze. And it gives you the option of whether to create it on a new worksheet or to use an existing worksheet. Now, if you use existing worksheet, Excel is going to put the pivot table in this area right here. And so you'll have your raw data here and you'll have your pivot table here, which I don't like too much. So most people like to put it on a new worksheet. So that's what we're going to do right now. So here is where you're going to build your report. And here is with boxes where you can either do filters, columns, values, and rows. So let's say you want to see what region did the best year to date. So we're going to take region, drag it down to rows. Take our year-to-date sales. We want to know right away what region did the best. So we go over to our pivot table. We're going to sort this by largest to smallest. And we're going to clean this up a little bit. Get rid of the blanks. And as we can see, region 3 did the best year to date. Coming in second place was region 2. Third place was region 1. And fourth place was region 4. Now, let's just say you want to see what manager did the best. So we're going to get rid of the region. And we're going to drag the manager down into the rows column. Get rid of our blanks. We're going to sort this. About from, largest to smallest. Let's do it that way. Keep doing it that way. And we can see Edward M. did the best year to date. And the great thing about pivot tables as well is that you can have filters. So maybe you want to filter by manager, by region, and we can put the state in rows. So for instance, let's just say we want to see in region 1, what did Barron do? Barron in Brooklyn. And as we can see, Barron and Brooklyn for Region 1 for year to date did 261,000. So the pivot table is very powerful. And if we want to move out the year to date, and we want to bring in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and I'm going to show you something that's interesting that just happened, fourth quarter. I don't know if you noticed what happened, but when I drag down the sales for the second quarter, the values changed from sum to count. Now, have no fear, there's an easy way to fix that. You go into the values box, click on it, and values field right here, settings. That's where you change it from count to sum. And you have other options as well. You can do an average, max, minimum, product, standard deviation, so forth. But we're going to put it to sum so it can change, and you can see that turns back to a number instead of a count. And we're going to drag down our discounts. And we're going to drag down year to date. Boom. And we're going to clean this up. Now, as you can see, for Barron and Brooklyn, Region 1, the grand total was 261,944. So check this out. So if you go back to our original data and you filter this, Barron, Brooklyn, Region 1, and we tally that up, look at that number there, 261,944, 261,944. But the pivot table makes it so much easier because instead of going through all of this again, with the pivot table, all you have to do is just drag and drop. And if you want to add Edwards in there, Frank, you can do that as well. Add another region, you can do that as well. Clean this up. Look at that. Have all the information right there. Another great thing about the pivot table is sometimes it's good to see the information in a tabular form like this, but sometimes you want to see the information in a chart form. So you would go over here to pivot chart just to look at it in a different way, and you can pick from any one of these charts that you would like, but we're going to stick with column. Cluster gives you an idea of what it's going to look like, and we're going to hit OK. And right then and there, a chart is created for you. And the great thing about this is if you want to change some of the information, like if we want to take out some of these, only add a couple of these states, the chart will change with it. And you can also do the same thing on this side. Add in DC. The chart will change with it. Here's DC added. Take out DC. DC is gone, just Delaware and Florida. Managers, same thing. You want to add a few managers. Let's clean this up a little bit. So that's another thing you can do with a pivot table is add a chart as well. Another option we have is you can see down at the bottom here, there's a option to delay or defer the layout update. If you click on that, what that does is that delays the update of your chart and of your pivot every time you introduce a new field. Say for instance, we take out first and second quarter sales, you see nothing updates. And maybe we want to take out fourth quarter sales. You see that nothing updates. Because if you're working with large data sets, every time you click one of these buttons, the pivot table and chart will have to update. And that takes some time. So if you're working with large data sets, maybe you don't want to do it every time you change the field. So for instance, that's what that deferred layout is. So if I click this, nothing happens, click this, nothing happens, click this, nothing happens. And then I finally click update, as you can see, now is when it updates. So if I go back to my pivot table and I add back certain fields, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Click deferred, first, second, third, nothing happens. Update, boom, it's gone. Let's add those back. And you can see I added back, nothing happened. So we're going to update, and there it is. Well, that was a quick introduction to pivot tables in Microsoft Excel. But the best way to learn this is get in there, start dragging and dropping information into different columns, different rows, change some filters around, add different filters. So that's the best way I think that you're going to learn the pivot tables. But the more you keep doing, the better you're going to get at it. So keep doing it and keep watching our videos. Everything Excel and more. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and please comment below. Thank you so much. Take care and have a nice day.